welcome to another Teacher's Corner. I'm Teacher Kirby, and today we're going to be talking about the Krenim Science consoles. So this tune, for example, has a pretty science-heavy build. So if you look, I haven't finished upgrading them yet, but if you look, I do have 5 Krenim Science consoles. They're all exotic particle focusers. We'll get more into that later. And they're all in my science console slots. So the Krenim Science consoles are actually quite interesting. We're going to go to the Research Lab. That is where you find them. Alright, up and down. So let's transwarp up, and we will transwarp straight to our Krenim Science Lab. Now you do have to have, and once we get there I will show you what level you have to get them. Your research lab, Krenim Research Lab, does have to be a certain level. And so let's look. You do have to be, and I forget which level. Certificate modules. Okay. I do believe. Okay. So you do have to be at least level 2, and that's to get the exotic particle focuser science consoles, and to get the restorative. Let's see. The restorative you have to be level 1, and the exotic you have to be level 2. So 2 different levels. Both are Krenim Research Lab consoles. So it's going to depend on what it is you want to get that your fleet has to be. Remember, if your fleet is not the correct level, you can always go on to the Nerds of Prey channel or ask a friend who's in another fleet for an invite to their fleet. It will use your fleet provisions. However, you can invite to the fleet map, as you see here, and it will allow you access to a higher fleets. Allow you access to get things like the exotic particle focusers, even if your fleet has not reached the appropriate level. Alright, so let's go and find the Research Lab consoles, and I do believe, if I remember rightly, I do believe they're in the development. Yes. Alright, so we're coming to the second console over here, Science Console Store. Okay, so you'll see I have quite a few things. These are all grayed out because I don't have the necessary dilithium on this character right now. So we're looking at restorative particle focusers. These run off of heals. Okay? Hull and shield heals. So anytime that you activate a hull heal or a shield heal, can't talk today. Words are hard. Anytime you activate a hull heal or a shield heal, okay, it gives a 25% chance to add 6% all damage for 30 seconds. Now this can stack up to 5 times. That means you can get up to 30% all damage bonus from these consoles. Okay, so if, for example, you are running something like, well, let's say, for example, you're running the trait or the bridge officer ability. Let's go to this one. Auxiliary power to the structural integrity field. Now if you look at this, this activates every 15 seconds. So what does that mean? That means you can hit this twice in that 30-second period, and you can stack the traits, or stack, possibly or potentially stack that damage bonus. Okay, it takes a little bit of a chance to get there, but it's a pretty good power to have if you're using the restorative. This also counts for shield heals, so that means things like, this isn't a good one. Oh, where are my ones with? So that also means things like science team. Where is it? Like science team. Okay. Or hazard emitters. Also means transfer shield strength because that's a shield heal. And tachyon beam. That's a bit of a shield heal. Okay. So all of these will trigger restorative consoles. All the hull heals, so that means engineering team, that means emergency power to shields, that means, let's see, what else are we looking at? Engineering team, okay, anything that heals the hull or heals shields will trigger will trigger a tick of this console. Okay? And as you can see, there are different combinations. Okay? So you have EPG shield hit points. Okay, so this means that it gives extra maximum shield capacity. If you're trying to shield tank, this might be a good option for you. We have, of course, if you're looking to do a what we call a super gravwell, Control X and EPG. We have Drain X and EPG. Another Drain X and EPG. This is because there's a lovely little thing that has to do with the changeover from the old skill tree to the new skill tree. Some of the things that were not Drain X were folded into Drain X. So these used to be two different things, and they're now the same thing. Okay? So, anyway. And then we have, of course, Control X shield hit points, Drain X shield hit points, Drain X shield hit points, another EPG shield hit points, because again, some things were folded in, another Control X EPG, Control X Drain X. Now, because of this changeover, there's also another interesting thing. You can have Drain X times 2. This is actually quite good for drain builds. So if you're trying to get the ultimate drain build, this might be an alternative to the plasma explosion consoles. These don't do anything for your threat, but you can get, of course, the extra Drain X. This gives you, each console will give you 53.1 drain expertise, which is quite good. There's another Drain X times 2, and again, this is because things that didn't used to count as drain expertise have been folded into that category, and so you end up with 2 drain expertise times 2. Okay, so this is the restorative. This triggers whenever you hit a heal, a hull heal or a shield heal. Now we also have the exotic particle focuser consoles. Now these have the same modifiers. They do the same thing when you hit the trigger for them. They have a 25% chance to give you +6 all damage bonus for 30 seconds. And it stacks up to 5 times. The only difference is what triggers it. Now what triggers this one is using an exotic damage ability. So this means, for example, subspace vortex, feedback pulse, gravity well. Okay, an exotic damage ability. So that's the key. It has to cause damage, and it has to be exotic damage. Okay, so I can't speak today. Oh my goodness. Sorry, folks. Mouth is getting a little slower than the brain today. Alright, so that means that you have to have a science heavy tune in order for these to even come close to working. Feedback pulse, if you're doing heavy feedback pulse, that's probably the best chance for getting this to work in the best way. It does activate on the final tick. That is something to be aware of. Most people actually choose to do the restorative because it is easier to get a consistent firing off of the heels, and so you can have a more consistent chance to activate these things. Okay, to activate it and to get the chance to stack the damage bonus. So most people will go with the restorative over the exotic. Reality is they are rather cheap. As you can see, they're only 5,000 fleet credits and only 2,125 dilithium. So I encourage you, test them out. Get a few of each or get a couple of each. Maybe just get one of each and test out with your friends and which one is activating best for you. Okay? I think everyone can afford 5,000 fleet credits and 2,125 refined dilithium to test out a console. So I encourage you to test it out, find which one works best for you, for your specific build, and go from there. Okay, and then once you find that out, go and buy the whole set. Okay, as I said, these are quite cheap, so they will fit nicely into a budget build. You have the same options for modifiers as the restorative, so no matter which one you choose, you get the same modifiers. Okay, so but remember, these do not scale your threat. So if you're trying to be a tank, for example, that needs to pull a lot of threat, these may not be the best choice for you. You might be better off with the plasma explosion consoles. But if you're, say, a science tune or a drain build, these might be best for you because of the double drain. But as I said, these are an alternative, so do a little testing. They are cheap, and figure out which one works best. Alright, this is Teacher Kirby, and this has been the Krenim Science Lab consoles. So you can hear the discussion of Teacher's Corner live every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Look forward to seeing you there.